All right, Sam, we're live. Back to
Are
you.
you sure? Are we good?
Yeah, we're
Can
good
chat
now.
confirm? All right, cool. I'm going to assume that we are live. So this is just a little pre-message before we get to our usual nonsense, but I think it's necessary to at least have a few words about the situation going down right now. We, of course, want to keep our show lighthearted and loosely related to drifting in some form, but we want to talk about what's going on, and that is this big coronavirus thing going on around us. So just as a little milestone for future reference, and just in case somehow you have not been paying any attention to what's going on outdoors right now, it is March 19th, 2020, and there's around 14,000 cases of the COVID-19, aka coronavirus, aka the Rona, in the United States, up from about 200 cases from only 2 weeks ago. And there's currently 250,000 of these cases worldwide and about 10,000 deaths. And these numbers are on a meteoric rise, and there's no sign of them easing up anytime soon. And at least in my case, as of an hour ago, and for all of California's case, I should say, it was announced that all non-essential business in California will be closed. And this is probably just the beginning of what is to come. So it's crazy right now, but nearly every event of sizable gathering in the world has been canceled or postponed or put off indefinitely. Form of the Drift Long Beach being one of them, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are already aware. And things might be a little bit normal where you are right now, but unless you've been completely isolated in some part of the world, your life has already been, or undoubtedly will be affected in some way, plausibly in a very substantial way. And we're really sorry if things suck for you right now, but if they don't suck yet, please do everything you can to prepare for some sucky times ahead. And everything is changing rapidly, and some things may change forever. Nearly everyone I know has been let go of their jobs or cut back on their hours, or there's unpaid leave, or we're not really sure what's going on. In my own case, nearly every future job in our company has been canceled or postponed indefinitely, creating a great uncertainty. And we're sorry if that's your case, because it's definitely freaky. But of course, some jobs are way too important to cut back, and hats fucking off to you guys. I'm talking about truck drivers, technicians, healthcare workers, law enforcement, food supply, delivery, utility workers, military, teachers, cashiers, and the 1,000 of other jobs that are just too important to be cut. And we want to make sure you guys are safe and know that we support you. And, you know, we are just very thankful that you're keeping our society running during these times. This is now the little bit of a preachy part. I'm sure you've heard 1,000 different things from 1,000 different places, but this is what's really important. It's that if you haven't already, please take some personal responsibility in this for yourself and for those around you, people you care deeply about, as well as people you've never met or won't have more than a passing moment with, are at great risk. And reckless actions could have grave consequences. If you aren't taking this seriously, then it's time to grow the fuck up. You've probably heard about washing your hands and not touching your face, which has been very challenging for me because I'm a face toucher if you've been watching the show for all the years that we've been doing it. But the thing that is very clear is it's time to isolate. It's time to go on lockdown. It's time to stay indoors. And if you're unable to do this, then please take every precaution to not get yourself or not get others sick. And this actually might be mandatory very soon. Like I said, us in California have been gently suggested to not leave our house for the moment. But if it's anywhere like Italy or Spain or other places in the world, it is mandatory not to leave. So it's just important to know that you can die, even if you're young, even if you're very healthy. If you don't die, you can get really sick. You can still spread it to a whole bunch of people. You can get people that are already at risk sick and kill them potentially. So don't be an asshole. If you take up a hospital bed, it is one bed away from someone else. So please stay home, limit or ideally isolate from anyone not staying in your home or not isolating completely. Play video games, read books, jerk off, listen to shitty drifting podcasts. Make your drift car less bad. You could watch that show you've been meaning to watch, or watch that show you've watched a dozen times already. Learn something new. Do nothing. Play with your dogs and cats and kids and family. Play with your dog, like our guest right now is playing with his dog. You don't have to panic buy toilet paper. Don't do that. You don't have to panic buy face masks and sanitizer. I mean, it's important to have your own good personal hygiene, but the health service needs all that shit. So stop it. And other people need it. Old people need it. Stop buying stuff that old people need if you're young. If you're an old person listening to this, I hope you get what you need, and all the young people are going to help you after they've heard this. I hope. But the message is we're all in this together. Please, please, please change your habits if you haven't already. This is really important. And finally, I really hope that this sounds crazy and that this is all just some crazy monologue from some fucking drift podcast guy who doesn't know what he's talking about and is out of his element. And maybe that will be true someday, but it doesn't seem that way right now. And things are almost certainly going to get worse before they get better. We don't know how long this will go on. Most informed opinions from scientists and epidemiologists are not optimistic. And I'm saying all this just because we care about you and we want you to be okay. And this is scary. At least it is to me. And whether it's scary today for you or you're a big tough guy and it's not scary, but maybe someday it will be scary to you. We just want you to know that you are powerful and brave and smart and awesome, and we can get through this. Let's just be smart. So all that being said, we want to talk about some drifting stuff because we think it's important to keep talking about what makes us happy, even if it might be put on hold for a little bit. But that's what we're here to do. We're going to talk about drifting, and we hope that you guys enjoy this show. You guys want to talk about some drifting?
Let's talk about some drifting. Brian,
All right.
roll the intro.
Yes.
You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And welcome once again to Maximum Driftcast. And we are live from isolation. We are all like very separated from each other.
We've been isolating since before it was cool.
Yeah, I keep Brian away from me with a stick. It's like, don't get close.
There's a big wall here.
Yes. I just said in that little statement that we're not going to talk about coronavirus. We're going to talk about drifting. But now, as a little bit of a half lie, we're going to talk about coronavirus and drifting. We've got Ryan Sage and Jim Liaw here, the founders, the dads of Formula Drift. And I feel like we talked to you guys fairly recently, but it was a much different context talking about how excited we were for Long Beach. And you guys announced fairly recently that excuse me, Kat, that the Long Beach Formula Drift event would not be happening as the Long Beach Grand Prix was not happening. And like almost every other major event in the world is not occurring right now. Let's talk about the thinking we know the thinking that happened, but let's just talk about it. How do you guys feel? How are you guys doing?
Guys?
Yeah, as good as can be, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's your outlook as gigantic event organizers that now are in this great unknown? How's it feel?
Well, maybe one way to kick things off is we can kind of talk about maybe in a little bit longer format, kind of how things came to be, how they are right now, and then maybe that'll help us point the direction where you guys want to go in the conversation.
Yeah, whatever angle you want to take.
Yeah, we had actually had some exposure to this quite a while ago because we have the FD Japan guys that are operating events, and he had expressed some real big concern about what was going on over there and hadn't quite gotten to the level that it is now here. And he had basically contacted us and said, look, if there's a possibility I may not be able to put on the event, but there's also a possibility that I may have to do the event without people. That's what some of the local mandates are starting to say, et cetera, et cetera. And then, within a couple of weeks, we started seeing more and more things kind of pop up locally. And, like dominoes, one by one, you started to see events that had a big planning window, have to make some decisions because that planning window would have gotten them into a situation where had they gotten too deep into it, they could really be in a tremendous financial burden. The Grand Prix in particular, as I think that kind of hinges on part of our conversation, had already been building the downtown structures for some time. If anybody has been in downtown Long Beach for anywhere between a week to 2 weeks ago, you would have seen that a lot of the major infrastructure had already been up. And the day that the governor called a guidance to no more than 250 people gathering in any one area, that following day, the city of Long Beach kind of followed his guidance, but they didn't make it a guidance. They actually made it a mandate, which is we're learning a lot about how this stuff works politically. When they do it as a mandate, it drives a completely different type of a scenario for local events. It means immediately upon that moment, no events for the time frame that they stipulated could take place. So just at a drop of a hat, from Gavin Newsom coming out saying no more than 250 people is our guidance, to the following day, the city of Long Beach coming out and saying that they're canceling all events through April, which meant every event at the convention center, every event in downtown Long Beach, whether it's a comedian festival or an outdoor event. There was quite a few. There was a list of like 30 different events that basically disappeared into thin air, and one of those obviously was the Grand Prix, so they had to make a statement. And it was interesting, their statement came out rather quick after the city of Long Beach made their statement. And so then we knew right at that point that we were not going to have any other option but to cancel our event, because our event basically rides right on the back of theirs.
What does, I guess the most important question that everyone wants to know, like, will there be, is this round just wiped? Are there plans to try to readdress this later? I mean, I know everything's a big unknown right now, but in your minds, is Long Beach going to hopefully return 2021 and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, right, we are essentially juggling a lot of balls, and that just depends on, just like in the Long Beach scenario, it depends on how the domino falls governmentally, whether it's the city, the county, the state, nationally, what happens, and then how long does that happen for? And so we're having, a plan B, plan C, plan D scenario literally in place, and we're having daily phone calls as everybody's isolated at home. Our team is having daily phone calls to figure out, all right, how do we piece this crazy puzzle together if this happens, if the next thing happens, if the thing after that happens. With that said, I think to your question about Long Beach, the plan was, if Long Beach was able to, or the Grand Prix was able to reschedule with the city of Long Beach, and they were trying to, they were aiming for the fall, that we had a chance to still stage a Long Beach round the week prior to that. And then we'd obviously still have to juggle and move certain dates around. But as of yesterday, they announced that they weren't able to find the right time of the year to be able to do that. And as a result of that, our chances of having Long Beach this year is gone. Mm-hmm. But I think what I want to stress is that though, there's terms of cancellation, rescheduling, postponement are all like terms that different organizers are kind of putting into play. So to be clear, Long Beach in 2020 is not going to happen. We're working with the Grand Prix and the city to, basically put the ball, in place for 2021 to be back in April. With that said, we're committed to delivering an 8-round championship in terms of our obligations to our sponsors, in terms of what we've, promised the teams and what they've sold sponsorship on, so forth. Will it look drastically different than maybe what we had originally planned? Potentially, but the goal right now is we're looking for another venue as, to complete 8 rounds of competition. So again, as it goes, hopefully nothing more happens and we can start putting some things, solidify some plans and some official dates and things like that into place. But we're kind of, really just watching the news as everybody else is, and keeping tabs with venues and, health departments and so forth every day to see how we can map this thing out for this year.
Corey, Paco?
I think it's just honestly it's the best thing that got to be happening right now, especially in motorsports and other big events. It sucks. We could say it sucks as much as we want, but I think it's the best thing we could do at this very moment, and all we can do is kind of just hang tight, stay supportive of all the teams, the drivers, and the organizations that are doing this, because we're all kind of all in the same boat, and it's going to blow by. You know what I mean? I think it's all a matter of time, and we'll continue about it on our way.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't like the
I
term
think
blow
one
by,
thing-
but
one thing I was just going to say, it made me think about what Jim was touching on, is that this situation is a lot different than the financial crash of 2008, where, you know, between 30 to maybe 50% of people's operating budgets just like disappeared in a very short period of time. And you were really kind of fighting for yourself. There is a fighting for yourself type vibe in this whole thing. But what's been abundantly clear to us is that the drifting community, our sponsors, a lot of the fans that have reached out to us, and the drivers have been incredibly supportive in this whole thing. It's really made me proud to be part of this community. I mean, we've got numerous responses from people when we've tried to give them updates on where we're at and what we're doing, with the basic response being, hey, we got your back. We're all in this together. We're all dealing with the same thing. And we're going to find a way to make this, you know, a good season, no matter how we do it. So that's one thing that makes us very unique, is that people are generally all in the same situation, whether you're another event promoter or you're one of the big three that stopped operations this afternoon or yesterday. You know, everybody's getting hurt by this. But I think there's a real bonding opportunity, and a lot of really, really, really pleasant things have come out of this in terms of support.
yeah, it's definitely been interesting to see. Nearly everyone I've at least had in my circles is totally supportive and appreciative of this. Like you said, I have not seen any teams or any people, like you said, I know of, that have been like, "What the fuck are they thinking? This is my event. Like, I had to drive Long Beach. Like, this is what my sponsors paid for." And it's like, yeah, they're not wrong. That's what the sponsors paid for. But hopefully that there is this line of understanding down the line from you guys, or I guess I should say from the city level down to you guys, down to the sponsors of the series, down to the drivers, down to the sponsors of the drivers and the fans and so on. Like, hopefully everyone gets it, that this is necessary and it does suck, but you know, everyone's still here. We're all in it together. So it's like, it is a nice little bonding experience. And before the show, I was saying, like, it is, I would never use the word fun, but it's different. It's weird. There's something awful going on right now, and it's shaking everything up. But like, there's a sick part of me that's kind of like, all right, this is different, and at least the day is not mundane. Not that my days are normally mundane, but there's something weird going on. And I think you said, Ryan, like, this is not something that we'll likely see again, or this just is going to be the biggest thing for a lot of people that may happen in their lifetimes.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
How do you guys have some kind of I don't know, like a contingency plan that you guys worked with, like, since, for example, like since when the 2008 crisis happened, like you guys were like, well, in case something like this happens, we have this kind of like way of dealing things. Is this something that ever came on through your minds before?
No, I mean, I think this is such a unique, place that we're in with 2008, 2009. It was, budgets got cut. So budgets got cut. We have to think smarter, spend better, look at everything that we're spending money on. Where we can cut, we need to cut without affecting, the foundation of the series and how we're delivering entertainment to the fans that are buying tickets to come to the event. And I think that was a different challenge. Today, I think, like I was talking about, I think the most anxious part is every day you're kind of checking the news to see, what's changed, what's closing down, what's freeing up. You're watching other event series, you're watching other sports and what they're doing. It's like, are they really, is NASCAR really coming back online in May? Is Formula One, were they serious about really trying to, make Australia happen? And obviously it didn't. And now they're postponed or canceled all the way up to Monaco, which is, May or end of May, like Memorial Day weekend.
That got postponed as well.
Right. That Monaco got postponed, and then 24 Hours of Le Mans is postponed. I think on the positive side, we look at ourselves. I think some of the things community-wise, yeah, I think the support is there, and I think we're all kind of focused together. And I think that's really the good thing. I would say, to find the brighter side of it is we're fortunate enough that we're running a series versus a once a year event or a festival where, man, we have to do this in April, and are we able to do this April event in November? And is that going to be the same? Are we going to be able to do it? Well, we have multiple rounds, so we still have the ability to make some shifts and moves, and maybe two events get moved around, but we still kind of have the rest of the season. So we're trying to be as hopeful as possible to do that and doing all those things. But behind the scenes, yeah, it's a daily grind. We're trying to balance we can't forget about doing the day-to-day stuff. We still have to, design our signage and order banners and all that kind of stuff as if the season is going forward. But at the same time, we're doing all kinds of crazy number crunching to say, okay, well, now Long Beach is off. So, the revenue's gone, the expenses are there. If we move it somewhere else, how much is it going to cost to do that? Things like that. So it's actually, though it's nice to be maybe working at home and spending time with family locked up and all that kind of stuff. At the same time, it's the FD staff's workload has almost doubled because we're kind of doing, both the work. But, again, to Ryan's point, I think, fan-wise, I think we haven't heard nothing but, support and just, of the series. I think, our communication with the teams have been really good. I think, sponsors are all still very positive, and everybody's really trying to work together to make this work. The best thing that we can do, again, is to stay on top and communicate with teams and with sponsors regularly to let them know what's happening and if we're going to change course, what course we're changing, and what path we're going down.
So we all, of course, hope that Road Atlanta would be an event that just goes off as normal on May 8th, 9th in Atlanta. But let's say it doesn't, and let's say that Orlando doesn't, and let's say, God forbid, Englishtown doesn't. Like, what do you guys do then? And I speak from this as someone that's a partner in a company that is facing a similar dilemma right now. It's like, we will eventually run out of money. I don't know what your guys' threshold is, but I think every company is figuring that out right now. It's like, when we don't have income coming in, when are we in trouble? And not only that, but at what point do you call the season off? Like, do you then try to do a 4-round season? I'm sure you've at least discussed minor league contingencies like this.
Well, I think the most important thing is trying to figure out how to do 8 rounds, whether or not that's a compressed season or a season that moves things around in order to accommodate that. If you're able to do that, what you're able to do is really take all the existing contracts that are in place, keep everything that's the same for us and for the drivers, and just change the dates on things. The challenge in that becomes when you have to do that with starting from fresh, right? If it was all 8 rounds that we had to change right now, that's going to be a lot harder than saying, okay, look, it looks like this 30-day window is going to push really close to Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta just got a government mandate. They can't have events more than 250 people in May now. All right, so where can we move that date? And then the same thing goes for Orlando. Some of those venues are going to have much more open dates than others, so that's going to be a challenge. But the bottom line is that the most important thing for the existing driver field and all the people that are involved in the series is to try and host 8 rounds whatever way that you can. So what's going to be critical here in the next coming weeks is to see how some of the people that have not canceled events in either less affected areas or areas that don't have mandates, if they actually go forward with those events, and what does that actually look like? What does it look like from a regional perspective? What does it look like from a fan perspective? Are fans scared to go out, or are they, just like the spring breakers going crazy? They've been cooped up. They want to go to events. And how does that all come into play? So what we're looking at is the long lead events that have to make decisions at a much earlier rate than some of the shorter lead events. If you take, for example, like NHRA has 2 races in April that are scheduled right now. They're scheduled to go April 17th through the 19th and the 24th through the 26th. One of them is in Texas, and one of them is in North Carolina. Those are fixed venues. Those are fixed facilities. They kind of run a little bit and operate like us. We want to watch those events to see what they do. They're obviously in April, right? So they're at a shorter time frame, and it gives us an idea of how people are thinking in those areas. A big long lead-in event would be something like EDC. You know, EDC is a massive build at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They have not canceled that event yet. They've been giving regular updates on it. But that's a massive, massive event in a city that just shut down their casinos, and
Right.
it's in the middle of May, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to have to make a decision on that, because they don't want to get into a situation, say like what's happened with the Grand Prix, where you put 90% of your production build up, you've sunk all kinds of money into the event, and then all of a sudden the government, or for whatever reasons, you can't hold the event anymore. That's what event promoters want to try to avoid, because you can't keep taking financial hits on all these things, because you're not mandated to stop the event. You're only out of guidance to stop the event. You need to have some assurance that that event can go on as planned. And then what you have to factor in at that point is, well, how are fans going to react to this? Are they going to be super stoked about it and come out, and is everything going to be safe? Or what's the social milieu at that time in order to make an event run?
I mean, right now, like you said, we're dealing with a lot of statewide or citywide mandates from leadership, but there has not been a national mandate yet. But my own instincts kind of say that may be coming, and I'm curious if it'll be a bi-weekly or a month-long. But I mean, it's not. I can't really frame this as a proper question, because it's like, when that happens, it's not like what you do. It's like you just don't do it because you can't, right? It's like if there's a national mandate that everything is closed for a month and no gatherings for of anything over X amount of people, it doesn't matter. Of course, FD can't go if it's anything substantial go on, I should say. So I guess at that point, you just cut out that month and try to reschedule. And, maybe we just have a crazy ass last 2 months of the year with a drift event every week, right?
A Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I want to believe that this is gonna be affecting mostly bigger cities with more dense population, like California, for example. So I want to believe that like most of the other rounds are happening in more spread population density areas, which I hope will help. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of positive news and updates on the webs. Which
Where?
Oh, I mean,
I've seen nothing positive.
Well, I mean, there's been a few updates on like possible new medications and possible new vaccines, and
that will take over a year.
I mean,
guaranteed.
I hope you're wrong. But
yeah, me too. Of course. I hope that this disappears tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to.
I don't think it's gonna disappear, and obviously it's not. I'm not trying to minimize it, but I'm just like trying to be optimist. I'm a glass half full kind of person. So I just want to hope that as long as people puts their own grain of salt on the situation, it's going to help avoid having to get these events like canceled. Like maybe even like the possibility.
I have no idea what that means.
Like the possibility of having these events happen even without an audience, and then
that was actually one of my questions I wanted to ask. Is series have run without audiences, or some sports, I should say.
Instead of paying for a ticket, you pay for like a pay-per-view kind of thing.
I feel like it's different though. I think that was like a football match where there's, I think, fewer sponsors. Granted, the stadium and the teams are losing out on ticket sales, and the organization, of course. But I feel like drifting is different because I think a lot of the sponsors are paying for that feet on the ground experience, right, Ryan and Jim?
Yeah, they definitely are paying for the on-site engagement. I think it's also different because, Formula One, for example, the series operates, the racing and the broadcast, but they don't operate the race itself. It's the it's a race promoter, and the race promoter is the one that relies on the ticket sales and the concession sales and the people that are there, and they support it regionally or locally. That's why someone like a Formula One, even NASCAR can run a race potentially without anybody in the stands, because substantial revenue from their TV broadcast deal, their global TV broadcast deal. We don't necessarily operate that way. Our economics aren't that, and we have thought about it and looked at, well, can that work for us? And as it currently stands, with whatever math we're doing, it's not going to work. We need a comprehensive event that has fans, that has all the usual event atmosphere, as well as a broadcast and the audience, to economically make it work. Now, if all else fails, is there still a possibility to do something like that? Again, we're looking at any and all options as every day, as every week goes by, and the world changes.
Yeah. How do you think this will affect motorsports going forward? I mean, we can kind of predict, obviously, that as this continues and mandates occur and people can't go near each other, that the events just simply won't happen, or they're happen sheltered. But I mean, this may have a greater impact felt for years, I feel. How does it feel as event organizers and owners yourselves? This will change the environment.
I think if you're an event producer right now that came into this year, or you've been running a number of years where you're over leveraged in some way, shape, or form, you're going to be in really bad shape. If you happen to be
over leveraged, meaning like you're making each round to pay for the last round, so to say.
If your business is not very liquid, or if you've taken on a lot of debt, think like a GRC model, in their latter years, there was rumors that they had been taking on a lot of debt to finance their operations. So this situation would probably kill an operator like that, just because you don't have any liquidity. It's hard for you to go out and get loans, things like that. I think with some other motorsports, it's hard to know what the effects are because of what their funding mechanisms are. A lot of the for-profit businesses may be already funded by very wealthy individuals or by venture capital, and those two things can have, distinctly different outcomes in these kind of scenarios. Like, the World Surf League, for example, has an incredible amount of funding from one individual. And they canceled their first 3 events all the way through the end of April, I believe. And they could probably afford to do that. It's going to be painful, but if you have one wealthy individual that is funding the entire series, that's a lot different than, a for-profit business where, you're trying to bring in revenue and you've got a lot of expenses going out and you're trying to manage your bank account and all that kind of stuff. I mean, this definitely has given us kind of more confidence in some aspects of our model, because we've tried not to take a lot of the risks that other properties had over the years, where you just spend to try and do something that you think is going to pay dividends in the future, is one way to look at it. But sometimes you can load up too much, right, and put too much money out there to where if something bad happens, you don't have any for a rainy day. Now, This is a thunderstorm, so this is a completely different situation. But as Jim laid out, the good thing for us in terms of moving forward and trying to do an 8-stop series is that, we have some latitude in how we can shift things around. And so long as everybody can get on board with that, there's the possibility of many different outcomes, whether it's a contracted season, or maybe we'll get lucky and it's only one event that has to cancel or something like that. It's just so hard to predict right now, because every day is fluid. And every day you're hearing something new. And, I'm not a scientist, and there's been tons of information that have been inconsistent with other things. But there's a feeling that you get where you're like, well, I see these other sports are doing X, Y, and Z. Right. These other brands are doing X, Y, and Z. It doesn't seem very good. And what we're hearing is not that great. At the same time, maybe these crazy measures that we're all having to go through is going to, everybody says flatten the curve, right? That's like the new meme right now. If that happens and we're able to feel confidence about the commerce getting back on board, because that's what everybody in the world wants right now. Everybody in the world wants commerce to proceed. Then maybe it can accelerate. It's really hard to know how it's going to have an impact down the road. And I can only imagine what drivers are going through. Everybody's running on tight budgets. I'm sure that, they've had to have conversations with their sponsors, and we've had conversations with the drivers, and everybody's hanging tight right now. That's why I think these next few weeks, the next month or so is just unbelievably critical to determining what the next steps are going to be. And until we really have some guidance on that, what we have to do, in our business on a day-to-day basis is exactly what Jim said. It's preparing for, backup plan A, B, C, and D until we know that we have more certainty.
It's preparing for the worst. It's preparing for the best, because if shit turns right back on suddenly, you have to be ready. But if things go very bad, you have to be ready. And then you have to be ready for the 10 scenarios in between that, of course. But it's important, I think, to be proactive too. I think it's not just to I'm sure this is by no means what you meant by what you're saying, but it's you're watching other organizations to see how they react, but at the same time, it's important to kind of be at least in my mind, the forefront of caution and severity. And it's it is fortunate for the series that are funded by venture capitalists to be able to just say, oh yeah, we don't need the money, we can shut the doors. But other businesses, I'm sure hundreds of thousands of businesses, maybe more than that, I don't know, worldwide, and definitely in America right now, are just kind of holding their breath and thinking and juggling. We don't want to let off our employees because we're human and we want to pay them, but we don't have any new income, and the entire system will fail if we lose all of our money. But we want to take care of our people, and there's just this complete juggle right now, and we don't want to cause new sickness. And it just kind of as a capstone to what you said, it's the best thing I think to do right now is to try to. It's best to be overreactive. I think right now it's good to isolate. It's good to be proactive in not spreading, because that is, I think, in my mind at least, the soonest way to get better. Is if we just keep on acting like it's going to be okay in a week, or it's going to be okay in 2 weeks, or okay in a month. It won't be, because there's going to be people that are going to just break the rules and let it grow and expand. So I think the best thing right now to get back to normalcy sooner, that's why I said that whole fucking rant at the beginning, is because I think we need to be chill, and we need to lock up, and we need to be responsible. Corey, you raised your hand.
Yeah, and just to add one thing, to pick up on one thing you said, I think it being okay is going to be highly dependent upon whatever situation. There's a travel ban in place for European drivers. Even if we're cool to run an event, that's going to be an impact on the series, right? Yeah. Not even something that you want to think about, but it's a reality that, we could be perfect here in the United States. We could be perfect at Road Atlanta. We could be perfect in Orlando. But if James and Peter and a lot of the other guys that are coming from the European countries can't come, that means that's going to be one less cool thing for us to have. So
a chance.
Things going on.
We Americans can be back on top, baby. That'd be I'm so sorry, James and Peter and Osmo. Yeah, Norway. Sorry, Norway. You're also out. Japan, just for good measure, just to make sure. Let's just say,
Well, let's say there's a bunch of cars freed up, Sam. So if you want to enter this year, you can drive Osmo's Supra.
Cool.
You could be the first driver to debut a lot of these new cars.
Yeah, I could do that. What and we touched on it a little bit already, but do you have any thoughts on what is a fully non-fan interacted in-person FD look like to you guys? Is it not that you'd have extra money to invest in live stream, but I don't know, has it at least come up in a Ryan and Jim meeting of what a non-fan live event looks like?
I think format wise, I don't think we've gotten there yet in terms of what elements we would broadcast versus what we wouldn't, or what elements we would add to kind of give it a better feel. I think, like you said, there's so many different options and scenarios because everything changes daily. We're kind of on our whatever X number rendition of what the season looks like. Okay, Long Beach is gone. What's the replacement? Okay, we got that. okay, well, what if Atlanta changes? Okay, then what is its replacement? And then what if Orlando changes? And what about that? And then I mean, I don't know if we thought past that. I think getting to the second half of the season from New Jersey on is a whole another feat. And as you guys stated, is a whole different set of scenarios of a contracted season, and how contracted is that season. I think, again, to be not naive and not kind of like close our eyes to the world, but as positive as we can, really, again, aiming for 8, but without jeopardizing, as you said in the beginning, without jeopardizing people that have to be there, not just fans, obviously, but there's a lot of people that work behind the scenes that are traveling, and their companies, families, they have different preferences, mandates. They're depending on where they're coming from. There's so many things in play, and it's so much to put our arms around. I think we're just kind of chipping away, and obviously we have to lay out every scenario possible to see what it's going to look like. But I think we're going to tackle them, obviously, but we've only tackled so much at this point.
Have you guys been in contact with any other racing organization?
Yeah, I'm pretty close with a team at SRO, which runs, formerly World Challenge, runs the GT4 series, the touring car series, and their GT3 series here, and with USAC. Actually, just talking to Jason from Global Time Attack today. Talk with Chris at Grid Life on and off. And other people that do events, and just kind of like keeping tabs about what everybody's doing and what's going on. And everybody has a little bit of a different approach, and everybody has a little bit of a, different mindset in doing this. But I think all in all, even amongst, the event world of people, I think we're trying to, support each other and know what everybody is, kind of the scenario that we're all stuck in, and trying to figure out how to, work with each other to get out of it.
Yes. So with that being said, could there potentially be any type of collaborations with other series to help, not necessarily, maybe just fund, organize with something that's already in existing, or, sharing track time, or getting track time a day early or a day after? Has all thoughts kind of been considered on working with other series as far as space and time and availability?
That's a good point. I think we've definitely thought about it. It hasn't really been really talked about as of now. I would say that if it had to, I don't see, especially in this type of time, I don't see why two organizers wouldn't find a way to work together. That's the only way to get it done. I think at least the people that I've spoken to are all in that kind of like-mindedness of like, how do we help each other? Even in the case of like, let's not schedule on top of each other if we can. You guys asked, or I think Sam asked, how does motorsport change? For the bad, there may be a lot of events, or in general, that may not be able to weather the storm. But then at the same time, there may be others that don't regularly communicate with each other, may start communicating and come up with maybe something better or something different to offer, or even do things that we were too complacent or too comfortable in our space not to do. We've never run past October. Can we run into November? Does that open up the doors for something different or some other venue? I don't know. Are there different collaborations? We've talked about it before with a lot of different organizers. We have, and we just haven't, really come through and figure out a way to do it. But maybe this forces us to talk about that in a more serious manner, and maybe in 2021 or 2022 we'll have something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I think there could be a lot of cross-pollination going on with NASCAR chomping at the bit, trying to get starting again, and they have a lot of great resources and a lot of room, a lot of track. I think it's an amazing idea, and I think, like I said, the cross pollination could be pretty awesome. It really could, and it could really help both organizations.
Now, who would be doing the pollinating? Would it be Ryan and Jim pollinating in NASCAR, or would
Yeah.
NASCAR be spraying their pollen all over Ryan and Jim? Do you think?
Well, see, what we would do, Sam, is we would take the young demo and penetrate it into the older demo.
Okay.
We're going to take the older demo and penetrate into showing them what a Nissan 240SX is.
Cool. So yeah, like
So-
what's up, all you NASCAR?
So it's actually a
dorks?
double penetration.
We're
so
talking
it's
about
not
spreading the seed, like
yeah,
a
thank you,
disease.
Paco. That's what
Yeah.
we're trying to get.
Okay.
That's what we're
got
trying
it.
to get to. All right. Only a couple more questions for our dads here, and then we'll go to the fun
Well,
times. the fun
I just
zone.
wanted to. I think it was clear if you guys consider the option of doing like some kind of pay-per-view, live streaming events or something in order to get some sort of revenue for Formula Drift as an enterprise. Like, I don't know, like selling shirts, selling merch online, or something that at least gives some kind of.
They sell merch and shirts online, Paco.
I know, but I mean, like making like hey, you know, like a post, like an official post. Hey guys, as you know, there's no way we can make this event, but hey, here's a way you can support your favorite series. You know.
I would do it for sure if you guys are like, hey, $40 to watch a no fans Long Beach for a couple hours. The production value is going to be excellent, and
Yeah, what about-
it'll help keep the series alive. I would definitely do that in a heartbeat.
What about a Formula Drift OnlyFans account?
OnlyFans? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Exclusive content for OnlyFans.
Your favorite driver's nude. all
Yeah.
day.
Implied nudes. Maybe if you like donate $100 or $200,
It's
you
called
get
Get
to
a
see
full
nip.
hog.
lewd
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, have you guys considered a paid?
I mean, you just-
pay-per-view?
You just
No,
have.
I think the yeah. I mean, those are actually good ideas. Not the implied nude parts, but
Okay, yeah,
it's,
You just have to go.
It's a good idea, and I think the deeper conversation in that would be that could help us, and I appreciate those ideas for the series to stay afloat and operating and move forward. I think then the next conversation is to series sponsors and teams, and does that put a Band-Aid on 2020? Hey, FD drivers, 2 of the rounds will still happen at X location minus fans, but we're charging a X dollar pay-per-view. Does that are you then void of your agreement with your sponsors? Does that put you into some compromising position, or it causes you a bigger headache than a different scenario? I think we want to be sensitive to that as well. That we could always think singularly for us, the series. Things like that could help. I mean, if we're able to recoup expenses to be able to cover being at the track and sending crew and all that, and broadcast team, et cetera, to go be there and to broadcast the competition, that's great for us. But we have to obviously have to make sure that the 32 teams, it does something for them as well. And if it does, then it may be an option that we have to look at as well.
I think the spirit of your question, Paco, is actually a good one. I mean, let me just pick up on one thing that you kind of implied, and maybe it's just a deeper question for all of us to think about: is when a lot of that talk was coming down the road, where we saw like the UFC do an event in Brazil without any people, and then we saw St. Pete with the with their Grand Prix down there. They were first on like literally the week of the event. And then on the Friday before, they had a testing session, I believe. And then they basically said, we're not going to do any GA. We're not going to do any general admission, because they didn't want a lot, large crowds of people crowding around each other, but they were still going to have grandstand seats. And then 24 hours later, they basically canceled the race. I think that what was going on there was you basically had a lot of this increased pressure that was going on. And as different regional emergencies, technical regional emergencies were being mandated, then those things kind of had to come into play. And if there were events that were going to operate like say, for example, with the UFC Brazil, that was a decision that was made by the athletic commissions down there and governing bodies. Now, can that happen in reverse in this situation? I think it's plausible, but I don't think that it would happen that way. I think it's either going to be you can hold an event or you can't hold an event. They're either going to say it's safe to hold an event or it's okay for you to hold an event. I think it's going to be much different as things come back online. So that's why, and I could be completely wrong about that. That's just my intuition in seeing how it all started to go that direction in the first place, is that every day there was more bad news coming out, and every day they chipped away a little bit more at what they could do at those events until finally it was like, okay, we're canceled, we're done. And some people skirted through. There were some hockey games that skirted through. We still had Disneyland operating out here. The big thing in the office for a long time was, people in positions of power were telling us, oh, if Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm and Universal Studios are operating, then it's not going to be any problem to do the Grand Prix. And then all of a sudden, the unspeakable happened. You saw Disneyland go offline, right? So,
they were wrongly operating at the end there, though. They held on to their profits for a little too long in some opinions.
Yeah, and there's definitely going to be a lot of moral hazard in the looking back at a lot of that stuff, depending on what information comes out. So I don't think that they're going to allow for that kind of moral hazard in the reverse direction. I think it's either going to be, yes, it's contained and we have safe protocols in place and events can be held at this point, right? I mean, you have Dana White out right now, basically with his an event April 17th or no 18th. Probably one of the biggest fights that's going to happen within the past 5 years. And he's committed to doing that event somehow or another. Even posted a funny photo of the fight taking place on the moon, So, it's going to be really important to watch a lot of these big events to see how those that have not canceled or postponed, how that comes into play. Because I think it's going to be telling us a lot about how that particular region in that particular county, in that particular state is addressing those live event issues.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I kind of want to believe that with this whole situation where all companies are not making money, somehow.
Plus, you're making toilet paper, Paco.
Well, I mean, I can tell you about some of my other endeavors in another podcast, but I want to believe that with like literally everybody like quarantine, everybody not being able to make money, the people who is asking for your money usually, like your mortgage, your renters, bills, all that stuff, somehow, I mean, we're in the same boat. And I think everybody should be able to kind of like, at some point, be able to, how to say, like kind of like, not oversee, but like try to move all right, like nobody's making money right now. We're not going to charge for anything right now. Not giving anything for free either. Not trying to get anybody on crazy debt. Let's just kind of like try to like come up with like eventual payment plan or something like that for big outstanding debts, whatever. But
Someone's still got to foot the bill, man.
Well, I think it's a partnership thing that we were kind of talking about earlier, and it's like you can bring up somebody like Cletus McFarland who has the Fantasy Factory. It's like that could be one good call to get a couple cars out there to potentially do an event at whatever potential rate.
He is doing the Freedom 500 on live stream. He's doing pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna pay for all. There has to be something.
There might have to be some rule, because even talking about what Ryan was saying about Dana White and the biggest UFC fight with Khabib, I've even heard rumor that they're doing it at a private UFC training gym, and I don't know if it's because it's a private property that you can have 50%. I can't even say the word.
Occupancy.
50% of occupancy in there. So that would technically be enough to fill it with fighters and crew and guys. But like with the Freedom Factory, he's still able to operate because, once again, it's a private facility that is owned. Maybe there is something that reaching out with them and working on a partnership private base while trying to stream it or do something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, just think big picture optimism, right? Like we've been talking about a lot of different details think about like Japan right now, right? I mean, Japan has the biggest year that they've probably ever had, going back as far as we can remember with the Summer Olympics, right? And the Summer Olympics are still scheduled to happen. And that, from an optics perspective, whether or not that thing goes, is going to be scrutinized, for, a very long period of time. But, our contact in Japan basically told us, they were expected to be one of the hardest hit areas. And right now they've only tested like something like 900 some odd plus cases. And he tells us that he's living a normal life. Everything's back to normal for him. Now, I trust the reporting that's coming out of there. And they probably took some really extreme measures early on to help mitigate that. And I remember early on, he was like, oh, I can't go anywhere. And, schools are closed and businesses are closed or whatever. And now they're kind of coming back online. If that's a model for us, even though we already have way more cases, that does give you some optimism. The problem is part of his crew that goes to those events are Americans. And, right now we have a level 4 travel advisory from the State Department. So
we're far beyond that.
There, but I mean,
that containment, unfortunately. But
yeah, so I mean, there are some elements of light out there, and I'm just hoping, and trying to be optimistic and stay positive that we'll see some of those things as well.
And I truly believe once we get the green light on a few things, everything's going to fall into place. It's just right now you get sideswiped 3 weeks prior to the biggest drift event in the world. And now it's all hands on deck to figure out resolutions. But you guys always been known to make things work times. And I still believe there's a lot of light left at the end of the tunnel. And I think a lot of great drifting is going to be done before the end of the year. And it's just all a matter of time. And like when I mentioned that it's going to be blown over, if you think about if this thing does last for a year in the grand scheme of things, a year is not terrible. A year is a fairly short amount of time in the lifespan. And and there's a lot of things that still could come out of it that could be very positive. But more importantly, it's an opportunity to learn about ourselves, learn about the series, and learn to adapt to situations like this in the future and be better prepared. Because I think it woke a lot of people up and realizing that, oh shit, maybe we should be working or talking with other organizations, or maybe somebody's doing a little bit something different than we have, strategizing events or venues. Maybe new venues will pop up and invite you guys. I think it's just it will really spark a lot of things that will change motorsports and events forever. But now it's like, all right, we get to do this one, and then we should have, once again, I'll be better prepared on all sides.
Yeah, right now we're in the wait and see mode. Ryan, Jim, Ryan's got his dog in his arms. Final question before we let you guys go. What would you like to say to the drifting fans that, obviously you guys do press releases, but those are often cold and impersonal because they have to. But what do you guys want to tell people that really like Formula Drift and also listen to the show?
Yes, I mean, official statements have to be made, right? That's part of doing business.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's necessary. I'm not shitting on those, but now you have the chance.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you are. I mean, obviously we gotta do that part of the work, and obviously we appreciate you guys always giving us, time to get on here and to, talk about all things FD. And no, I mean, we mean it when we say we do. We appreciate the community because families out there have been very patient and very supportive in walking through this process. And I think, hopefully that shows people's empathy that people in, all walks of life in all parts of the country are affected by what's happening, their businesses, their jobs, et cetera. And I think everybody's trying to, ride through this and work together to get through and come out better. And, hopefully this, we get past this quicker and sooner versus later. So yeah, I mean, I think, with fans, and definitely the series partners have been very, very accommodating and patient in working with us and the teams as well. And, hopefully we've shown some of that in return to stay in touch with as many of them, if not all of them, as regularly as possible. And I think in this time, communication is key. Things change every day. So we will do our best to keep everybody updated with what's happening. And a lot of times we don't know. We know as much as and we're kind of waiting. So we're waiting just like you're waiting. And if we get a better sense of direction, we're going to take action, and we're preparing for when that time comes, and we have our multiple options in play.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we're definitely thinking about all of our friends in Europe. It's definitely really crazy over there. Thinking about the DMHC guys and all the other event series that we have relationships with, and hoping and wishing for the best for them. As this thing kind of plays out. The one thing I can tell you is that we're working hard every single day, even if we can't necessarily all go to the office together. And we're going through all the different options that we can, trying to be prudent, trying to be quick and fast on our feet. And our goal is to do those 8 rounds, and we're gonna do our damnedest to try to make that happen. It's just gonna be up to whether or not we're allowed to.
Yeah. Well, I hope, as everyone hopes, that we do get to see some drifting sooner than later, some Formula drifting. But we will obviously do what is safe and do what is right, and wait and see. Ryan, that dog is staring me down aggressively. What's his or her name?
This is Ziggy.
Iggy. Hi. He's waving. She is waving. Well, Dads, thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm sure we'll be eagerly awaiting to see what the general bigger picture is going to unfold into, and then, of course, how you guys will react to it. But I'm sure at the end of the day, we will have drifting again when it is time. And in the meantime, we will support everyone who is still trying to make drifting awesome. So we appreciate you guys.
And before you guys go, just a quick message. A lot of the people in the chat and a lot of fans have been trying to relay a message to you guys, and they're just saying, they love the series, they love you guys, and a lot of fans are here for you guys, to support the series. So just so you know, you're not alone out there. A lot of fans want you guys to keep doing this.
Well, that's really appreciated. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
Well, Dads, we're going to talk about fart jokes for a while to take our minds off this. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you guys very soon. Thank you for your time.
All right, take care,
guys.
Have a good night, guys.
See you guys. Thank you.
Are they gone?
No, they're still here. They're watching. All right, now they're gone.
Okay, as I want to say, don't pay for Ryan Sage's OnlyFans. Just Google his name and you'll get the best.
If you guys, this is very important information, and we try to mention it every time Ryan Sage is on the show. If you just Google Ryan Sage, and make sure to turn off safe search just to be sure that you get those extra juicy photos. You get the good shots, and that's how you get the good stuff out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't end the show just yet. We wanna fuck off for a little bit, and what else are you gonna do in these times? Hopefully, you guys are making the best of your quarantinis if you are there yet. If you're not there, I have a feeling you will be soon, and hopefully you still get paid and still get to work. But otherwise, hopefully you get to goof off and have some fun. So, here's actually Corey. So I don't think you've made the proper announcement. This is the perfect timing. For you to say what you're dedicating much of your time to now. I mean, we've all known you've done a little bit of this, but now you're doing a lot of this in this perfect time.
I want to preface this with I think I'm gonna blame Corey. He knew something. See, he knew something was gonna happen, and he was like, "This is gonna be my time." So
man, I keep thinking about this. And for example, Hoonigans just did a live stream this past weekend for Final Bout. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Did you?
I did catch peaks.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I was the producer of that show, by the way, guys.
Oh,
yeah,
it looked good.
The Hoonigan live stream.
El Productor.
So I'm actually Ascato called me. He's like, I'm the executive producer on all live Hoonigan live stream products.
Brad?
So I was actually part of the producer of the show. So the way that worked out is Final Bout once again got the message from the state of California or the city saying you can't have any spectators. And so they were like, fuck, what are we going to do? We have only a few days to get people to watch our event. And I think a lot of these events sell feet on the ground, right? I think a lot of these events. And so rather than looking at a feet on the ground, I think people are selling it for eyeballs now. And I think eyeballs is just as important as feet on the ground. The only advantage with having feet on the ground in the pits is that you can touch tangible products, right? Mm-hmm. Vendors can go off and show goods and things like this. But I think this is a great opportunity to capture a live audience, integrate better commercials, get these companies to pay Sam to make wonderful product videos to be then now posted on the live stream. So you can just integrate it differently. And I think this is where you'll see a lot of this migration over from non-live streamed events to dedicated live stream but higher quality events.
Corey, we were going to talk about fun shit. And
Yeah, yeah.
you're talking
No.
about live stream advertising. Stop it.
No. But I'm just talking about this is how motorsports is changing. This is the rant.
Yeah.
It's how.
I mean, I'm still full about in person because I've always thought F1 was like me, and then I went and
Right.
saw real life F1 cars. And I'm like, holy shit, F1's great.
Yeah,
And
I've never seen
drifting
that.
is
well, it's
is
like
awesome.
drag racing too. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like drag racing. But I think there's a lot of fans out here, or maybe they have.
Only fans, I would say.
Yeah. There you go. I still think there's going to be a lot of evolution still happening with live motorsports and things like that. And I think it's not just the venue itself. I think it's the people also being worried that we have to
Yes.
take in consideration. And I think that is, so here's this. So it's like people are going to worry. People are not going to attend. The organizers and promoters are not going to get the same foot
Corey,
traffic.
stop. Please
No,
just say
know.
what I please just say what I set you up
Well,
for.
this is what I was getting to. Oh no, are you saying that I'm on Twitch a lot? Is that what you want me to say?
No, not just a lot. Like you're.
Oh yeah, no. I'm going to full-time Twitch. Yeah,
There
absolutely.
you go. That's all I was trying to fucking say before you
But-
started to get back into the Rona change in motorsport and all that. Yeah.
No.
We all fucking know
I
it's
just wanted to
gonna
talk
suck.
about that because I didn't want to say that with Jim
Yeah,
and Marcus.
yeah.
That's so much good input that I didn't want to interrupt them and say
Okay,
a
that's fair.
rant. So I wanted to
Okay.
rant after that they got off and just like once again they gave us a lot of information on what they're
Yeah.
doing on the back end. So it was just like that was my dump after listening to those guys talk. But yes,
Yeah.
I've been on here hanging out with Twitch, and I love Twitch. I love the live streaming platform. I do love Sam what you do, but it's a lot of work to make
What do you
that
mean?
uh,
Big
pre-production
stinky videos? Yeah.
videos,
That sucks.
post-production.
Your life is better.
staffing, 12,000 people, key grips, producers, karate kids, ninjas.
Yeah.
You have all these things you have to worry about on a shoot, and it's like for me, it's like I love being live. I love Driftcast because we're live. We can go and chat right now. We can say Global Media Inc. is talking shit, or USGIs want to know, Sam, what type of bass flute do you play? And it's I think that is our way to connect with people. And
D
I-
minor is actually.
No, by the way, Global Media is an amazing, amazing person in our chat. But I think it's just live streaming is very cool. And I've been doing it
Yeah.
for time now.
Yeah, you started Twitch fairly recently, but
Tell us
fairly
about your
recently in the bigger
backpack.
picture. But now you're doing the heavy dick stuff on Twitch.
Heavy Deck. We're going
Uh,
full time, dude.
And you're
Go fun.
Corey Hosford on there, right?
Hosworth.
Osworth, that's
How
right.
do,
What?
you, how to get a geeky gamer name, dude?
Yeah, HOSSWORTH. If you want to find him on there, Corey, we've both been playing a little bit of.
Yep.
I'm still unfortunately working pretty much full hours from home for this moment. I have a feeling that may stop soon, but we'll. I'm trying to get some dubs. I want to get some stinky, nasty Call of Duty Warzone dubs with you. So hopefully we can play Corey soon, and people that are friends of the show and also like dorky ass video game stuff. And Corey, can we get some dubs for the boys?
Oh yeah, for sure. We could definitely get dubs, and maybe we'll live stream it too, Sam. We'll go out there and swing our hogs on people.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about live stream. I'm not doing it if no one's watching because I don't want these
Yeah.
skills. These skills that I have, they're not good, but they must be seen. I could I could do a nasty headshot every now and then, but I do panic under pressure, and I also make really poor decisions as to.
But
when
you've been making poor decisions since I met you, so that's nothing.
Yes, that is absolutely true. That's true.
Hey Corey, but
Um,
but you got a backpack.
I got
Yeah.
Your mochila.
Yeah, I got my own. Live streaming backpack, so we'll be taking it on the road. Maybe do some
Just in
drift
time.
I was
just in
like-
time
Yeah.
to go on the road out into public.
I was gonna say like, what are you gonna show? I was like, oh, let me walk you around my house.
Dude, I can go in my backyard. I can pick up dog shit. I can climb a tree in my backyard.
can you
I could,
can you climb a tree?
Yeah,
I'd like
yeah, I
to
could.
watch. I'd like to
Yeah.
see that. I'll pay per view to watch Corey climbing a tree.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, those are probably. I imagine there's some real hot shit going on Twitch right now, IRL, of like just people in quarantine doing real spicy stuff. I can only imagine. So I hope that you're at the forefront of that, Corey.
Yeah, it's I don't know if I'll ever be on the forefront, but
I mean, you're a real spice meme lord, and I think that you could get some nasty follows, some nasty subs, some smashes at the like button, if you just kind of show off your day to day.
I think I'm just too lazy to produce something, Sam. That you'd on
You
your
just
scale.
said that you produce big shit.
Well, I'm post production.
Oh
editing
yeah.
the video. Yeah, I don't. Even though I did buy a camera, even though I bought a Canon 80D, I used it twice so far.
I heard that you have ADD.
That
That was a rough.
amongst the many things.
Oh.
What the? Hold on, dude, Sam. So you were in Spain, which welcome back, by the way.
Thanks.
I'm
was
gonna
in
say-
You were
I
supposed
was
to go
in.
back.
You're patient
McLaren-
zero, Sam.
I was in the McLaren garage, no doubt, within kissing distance of one of the drivers that probably, not drivers, but I think it was a team person that was diagnosed with the Rona. And of course, I watched it as it went from being a relatively unknown or unconcerning thing to in the middle of shooting F1 testing. Had to sign a bunch of waivers saying, this is where I've been for the last 3 months. And this is who I'm talking to this weekend at Formula One. Like, they took it very seriously, very fast. And it wasn't a concern getting out of Spain at the time, but then we were home for a week. And as that week went on, things got darker and darker. And I was supposed to go back to Spain for another job. And I was very hesitant and very uncomfortable with it, as I made clear. But I was still on the level of saying like, oh, it's, we still got to do our jobs. The world must continue, and I will go and just be safe and
You'd have been an
and
idiot if
be
you did
clean.
that.
And then unhappily, my mom was very mad at me. My girlfriend not pumped. And then the morning of, I woke up like 4 a.m. to get ready for my like 7 or whatever time a.m. flight, and packed my shit, pet the cats, kissed everyone goodbye, called the Uber. Uber is minutes away, and I get a text saying, hold, things are getting shitty. The factory's shutting down. Hold. We might still go hold. And I'm like, okay, I need to leave for the airport in 10 minutes or I'm not going to be able to go. And then, yeah, it got confirmed the place we're going shut down. And I thankfully didn't end up in Spain because 24 hours later or 48 hours later, the travel ban was announced. Granted, that didn't allegedly after the fact because it was not clearly conveyed that the ban wouldn't include Americans. So yeah, I would have found a way home, but it would have been a very, very tough endeavor, and I would have exposed myself to.
I hope he would have built like a pirate ship out of like really shitty wood and then
Yeah.
sailed back. That would be
Yeah.
my goal for you. Sam, I hope you make it back. Build a shitty ship and set sail. Pitch a tent and set sail.
I mean, yeah, I pitched a couple tens for here and there, whatever. I do what I need to, but I'm
the
very
other
excited
thing-
that I didn't have to go.
Yeah,
and,
no, we're all
very pumped.
excited.
I'm very pumped I'm here. Then our company, of course, went to remote only before
As
this week
everybody has.
began. Yeah, everyone responsible, hopefully. Like, I still have friends,
Um,
unfortunately, that work at some businesses that are like, nope, you're in. You got to come in still until they tell.
You're
until
in. What do
government
they do?
tells us.
Neon things there?
You're in, yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
if as I
fucked
said in the intro, it fucking sucks if you're part of that. But I hope that you stand up to them and don't, because time to turtle up, which I think is cool. I like it. Like I said, minus the whole impending doom thing. It's good. All I want to do is sit at home in my underwear and play video games, anyways.
By the way, I've never seen an F1 car before.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
What?
They're fucking nuts.
Are they?
Have
nuts?
have we done a show since I've been back? I forget.
We you didn't talk about the
we
race.
did,
You
yes.
said- no, you pre-show, before you left, because you didn't do
no.
a show while you were in Spain. So you talked about what you were doing out
Yeah, I
there.
thought I
You
did
were
one.
doing some cool F1
but-
shit, but you didn't
No,
say.
we did one after I got back a little bit.
Yeah, we
but-
did an episode when he was back, like right after he came back.
It
Yeah.
must have been boring because I
They're,
don't.
they're the coolest things on earth, and I'm a new fan and respecter of F1, and on my very long watch list of stuff to chow down on this indefinite quarantine. I definitely need to watch the Drive to Survive F1 Netflix show. I watched Westworld last night. That was pretty cool. I need to watch Ad Astra with Bradley Pitts. I'm watching Scrubs again. I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's good from back in the day. What's on your watch list, boys?
I just finished watching all 3 seasons of Hannibal.
Okay,
It's very good.
I've not
fucking-
yet seen a Hannibal.
Matt Mikkelsen is a freaking god, man.
I do like that guy.
Yeah, that guy he fucks.
That guy fucks.
He fucks for sure.
I had to watch The Witcher again. I'm excited about that. Never gonna watch Game of Thrones again. Fuck you guys.
Just the last 2
Sam.
seasons.
Corey doesn't watch TV really. I mean,
So Corey, actually, you know what, Corey? Yeah, you should, like, this is your time. You should watch Game of Thrones finally.
No,
Cut
no,
up.
don't. It's not
I'm
worth it. Don't
gonna
even
watch the
start
show.
it.
I
It's
want
so-
Sam to tell me about how cool Formula One car is. And
I
if,
did.
are they all?
I did on a show.
I
Listen
don't
to the
remember.
show. Okay. So what I basically said was it is very cool to see what is very clearly what happens.
And how
to a
close are you
car.
close to these cars, by the way? How close?
Oh, I could have licked the exposed engine if I want to. Like it was right there. And that's probably how I got the Ronos, because I
Sam-
did lick the exposed engine.
Are,
But
are-
yeah, we were given unprecedented access inside the garages, and we made all the teams very uncomfortable with our cameras. And they're like, because we're trying to shoot these drivers walking in. That was a goal we did, and they're actually all live right now on the Formula One website.
But-
If you go to the drivers, you can see their profiles where we interviewed every single driver, and we put that together into like a 90-second compilation, intercut with their best answers, intercut with B-roll of them like walking through the garage and getting in their car and suiting up and doing all that stuff. So we shot this with every driver, all 20 of them. And, while shooting that stuff, all the teams were very uncomfortable because media like this, Netflix, I think, kind of opened the doors for us, thankfully. Like suddenly F1 is like, oh, maybe it is cool to shoot footage behind the scenes, because they are very, very, very strict with access. And somehow we got access to garages, which we're super grateful for. And all the teams seem pumped with what we've made, so that's cool. But we're in there, and the engineers are, especially, as you can imagine, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, the big ones, they're like, what the fuck are these guys with cameras doing in here? Like, our car, the underside is off, the rear diffuser is off, and the engine is exposed. Like, and there's a dude with a camera just sitting right there. And like, we'd hold our cameras up and try to hide and not let them see. But the whole point, getting to the structure of what you asked, it's just really incredible to see what a car looks like when essentially a near unlimited, in some teams' cases, budget is thrown at it to make it as fast as possible within a confined set of rules. But still, these are very clearly the fastest turning cars in the universe, not universe, in the world. We don't know about the rest of the universe, whatever. But
in the universe.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. But it's just really cool to know that this is like the top shit. This is the upper echelon. Everything here is exactly as best as it could be. It's like, I'm sure they're informing the drifter scene it a little bit with teams saying, all right, I want the best thing that money can buy. F1 is saying not only, rarely is it the best thing money can buy, this is the best thing that I can spend 20 to 30 to 50 to 100 to 500 million dollars creating and then being secretive about. And like Mercedes did a very unique thing with active steering, I forget what they call it, active camber. I'm sure there's
Active
a
toe, where you saw the wheel pull in and out, and the toe.
Yeah, so
goes
that
in.
was, we were there that day when that happened, and like all the other teams.
Is that a real thing? Is that active?
Yeah, I think it's kind of sketchy, but like Mercedes
seems
was still, of
fucking
course, very
weird.
fast, and it was just testing, and we'll never know, of course, what it would look like in Australia and what happened. But it was definitely really cool to see stuff like that happening, where I haven't seen that sort of thing occur in FD, maybe because I wasn't in the pits when Daigo showed up, but it was just really cool to see Mercedes come out and do this, and all the other teams like, what the fuck? What are we gonna do? Like everyone's just like, oh, looks like Mercedes is gonna win hands down, no problem. Like there was just this like weird vibe of submarine warfare that just occurred, where they just put, even though they're already on top, they just like jumped another gap. So F1 is super duper cool.
Yeah,
and I'm definitely gonna follow more.
but
I'm actually looking up a video right now, and the difference between active toe and non-active toe cornering speed through a corner. This is when they were in Italy. It looked like 327 kilometers an hour got bumped up to 336, almost 9 miles an hour cornering speed difference with that active toe.
Yeah.
Hey Corey, can you
Fucking nuts.
give us a live comparison between active toe and camel toe?
That's a good one.
Let me hike my pants up high enough, and you might see both.
We have a
also-
super chat.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, like, want to jump into super chat real quick?
Yeah.
Scott Gray in the super chat saying, going back to pushing the events closer together, we do an FD Drift week. All teams will be limited to the race car and its trailer. I guess he's talking about like kind of like keeping it
Yeah,
tight.
he's saying like if we have to adjust the schedule and do all this weird stuff, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott.
Like,
I appreciate the super chat question.
Yeah, we appreciate super chat. I didn't want to ask for money, and to be clear, you guys, I don't want to tell Patreons to stop giving us money, because we definitely need money in all of our times. But more importantly, we want to say that if over the next however long, if you guys experience financial hardship and need to survive, don't give money to your fucking podcast. Like, we want you guys to survive and be happy and be healthy. So That is what is most important to us, but we appreciate the super chat. And if you're fucking rich, dude, shower us in gold. We
Dude,
want it. We want
dude.
it. And if you're not rich and you have money to spare, by all means, shower us.
Hey,
in dollar.
Sam. Another thing, are Formula One drivers jockeys? Are they little tiny dudes or what? Did you fuck
a
them all
lot of
up?
them were a little tinier boys.
Can you beat them
for
up?
Sure. I would say I could beat up a lot of them, but I'm also not a fighter. I'm a lover, so I would
That's
say
a good
we
thing.
would play gay chicken, which is not cool probably in the
You just have
coronavirus.
F1. You have F1 drivers sitting on your shoulders and they just slap each other. First
Yes,
one that falls
chicken
off.
fight. No, I was gonna
Okay.
say gay chicken is where you get like really close and whoever bails out.
Oh,
Over
bells
bells
out.
out.
Oh,
This is-
I
yeah.
thought it was chicken fighter. Where
See,
you put
Sam,
them-
all-
No.
all this talk about licking and kissing and all that, and in Spain
Well,
when
we
you
have
came
to live
back,
in some way, Paco,
I-
since we can't
Oh,
do it
yeah.
in real life.
I'm just saying.
Damn
I think Sam is patient zero. He's the one who
could
brought
be.
it. He brought it from Spain.
I don't know, man. España. Yeah, it's
España.
definitely fun when you're hearing about a virus coming out that's transmitted by spit and other ways, and then like everyone you meet, you have to do that, like the cheek kiss.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good times.
Ryan Literal came over to Phoenix a couple days ago to pick up some kids for his 14 car for his party car.
Yeah.
And you know, like that, it was like the whole thing is like, hey, what's up? And just like little elbow bump, boop. Just,
Yeah.
you know, just like keeping our distance. And he was going back to California, like expecting it to be on lockdown pretty soon. I guess he
Isn't
was
an
right.
elbow bump closer since you just released about 2-3 extra feet off your hand when you
But,
put it down?
but you're not
Well,
touching your
It-
face
yeah,
with your elbow.
it's
if
not
you're
an
doing-
elbow bump to his face. It's elbow to elbow.
Yeah. Either
Yeah.
way, I'm not making physical contact.
Why don't you just do boops on the nose? Can you bring back boops on the nose?
Aw.
That seems like the worst thing, probably. Or I'd say that kissing and Eskimo kisses are pretty bad.
Wait.
What about
Eskimo
hand
kisses
sanitizer
bad?
showers, dude?
You can't buy hand sanitizer right now.
Where you
Unless-
just shake it up and spray it on each other?
Yeah, I guess. I
Global-
mean, there's. I'd say golden showers might be good because there's ammonia. in
There's
there.
ammonia in it, and that's what
Yeah.
Ajax has.
Yeah.
Global.
Paco,
Oh yeah.
are you still having to go into work?
Yeah.
Stop.
Brian and I mean, we work in the same office pretty much.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're both sharing our viruses and
That's not
our
ideal.
coronas
hope-
and all that.
I hope you
Um,
stop doing that soon.
Well, I mean, like, if we, for whatever reason, we have to work from home, we'll probably bring our computers here, which we could. So we'll
As long
see.
as you isolate together. I mean, you guys have to isolate.
We really
together,
don't- we
or
really-
If you,
We really don't interact with a lot of people.
yeah.
Like, we are kind of like very isolated in our own office. But other than that, I mean, like construction, it's huge. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's like services, like deliveries and all that stuff. Like that shit doesn't stop.
Yeah.
If
My
it-
buddy Matt said that like he works in construction as well. He's saying it's weird. We've been given the directive to work from home. We also have like 20 active job sites where
Yeah.
we need people to build stuff. So
The best part
Well,
is
haven't-
like the field people like trying to work from home. Like, yeah, that's not gonna work.
yeah.
Why? Haven't you ever swung your hammer at home before bed?
Oh yeah, dude. Every night.
Yeah,
I'm
see, so
fucking-
then you're a construction worker.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm.
I'm good with the wood, dude, and I swing my hammer before bed, so it's...
Yeah, I'm like I work in construction, laying down the hard caulk, and then I'm a bit of a baker. Like, I'm gonna make a heavy batch later on. You guys can be a part
Yeah.
of it if you want.
And you're a plumber because you lay pipe every now and then.
Yeah, no, not very often.
Turn
so
the cement for a few
it's
days.
just bad.
Yeah.
That's how you get corona.
That's how you get the run for sure.
Yeah.
But
Super
Paco,
chat.
What,
Sorry, real quick. Super chat
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Global Media Incorporated. I mean, he's in corporation. He's probably swimming in cash right now. Thank you, Global Media. He's saying, thanks for keeping us keeping us informed and entertained. The Driftcast. Stay healthy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Global. You too, man. We appreciate that.
I'm
Well,
washing
sure.
down the virus
It
with
was-
Jack Daniels,
It
by
was
the
good
way.
to have Ryan and Jim on there. At least they're obviously heavily proactively looking at
Yeah.
different venues and events, and they believe the future Formula Drift is going to be fixed and redeemed somehow. Hopefully, if
Yeah.
this all passes. And
Yeah.
what we should do, Sam, is do some virtual drifting. Why don't you get a sim rig? I just got one.
I was gonna
And we
ask you,
could do
Corey.
some
Yeah, so you
online-
just got a rig, and you said something about doing some virtual drifting. Obviously, you know, we have our big dog, Big Balls here. Is like a master of disaster on the
Yeah.
sim drifting. So when are we doing this? Give us the announcement.
I can do it tomorrow.
Oh shit. Well,
Let's go tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Paco, do you have a set of Corsa?
I have a Assetto Corsa with VR. I have a
Is
real
that your
hydro.
guys' top drifting jammer? Is that the
A
move?
set of Corsa, dude. I played it for the first time yesterday, and I'm
yeah.
fucking hooked on it.
You're all
Dude, you
about it.
said
Is it
you
the
said
most
you
real car
hated.
feel?
You said you hated Sims because you couldn't get it.
No, I hated VR because it's vomit ready. I put it on, I throw up on myself. Do you remember who was?
That's what
You
VR
weren't there
stands
for
for.
Pikes Peak. No,
Do you get
I
VR
watched-
sick? Corey?
I do. Yep,
That's a bummer.
yep.
I hope I don't, because I just did right before this whole thing happened, where I might not have any money soon. I did put down money for Steam VR or Index VR, what do they call it? Valve Steam Index VR. So that will hopefully arrive at some point, and I really hope I'm not VR.
That's
sick.
gonna keep you at home.
Because-
I get VR sick. I do.
I do
Even
wanna
Kent
play-
Gucci
I
gets
wanna
VR
play-
sick when he puts in reverse.
Oh,
if
wow.
you go in
Yeah.
reverse on the VR, it gets you sick as fuck.
Interesting.
Well,
I
it
just
just-
want to play it for the 4D hentai games.
Vomiting reality is what it
Hooked
is
up.
with VR.
No, I want to play. I want to play Half-Life.
I
I'm
gotta
very
I gotta
excited
say,
about that.
Corey, if you can get over the sickness on the VR, to me that's what made it for VR for drifting. Because when I was trying to do just sim drifting, like when you go sideways, you can't really see what's coming at you, and that was like the hardest part. And as soon as I put a VR helmet, like it just made like a world
Because
of
you could
difference.
actually.
So here's the
look at
thing,
where
though.
you're driving.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
this: there's some really good people out there that know how to set up like a 3-monitor setup, or even like a 1-monitor setup.
3-monitor setup,
where-
sure, that
Where
works too.
even
Yes.
with the 1 monitor, you can add in like a set of Corsa is so tunable that you can change head position with the amount of steering wheel.
Have
add in.
they
So you
added
could-
like a camera movement like that?
Yeah, you have head movement in it, so you can turn the wheel, and at the same rate you turn the wheel, it turns the person head. So even you're driving off 1 monitor,
Yeah.
you can see as if you were turning your head. So that's what I put it on yesterday, and it's absolutely legendary. The problem is I set it up in my shop, and my monitor's probably like 12 feet away from me, so everything's like this big.
It's like
But-
tunnel vision. You're going too fast.
Now that we're going to be on quarantine, I'm going to bring my sim rig here behind my green screen and set it up so I can drive 24/7.
Cool.
And like the other thing too that's bummer, I'll tell you guys, I'm going back to the bummer side real quick.
Yeah.
It sucks because for me it's like I'm trying to build another car, and like my whole plan was hopefully debut at Grid Life.
Grid Life, by the way, still on as planned.
It is still on as of now. Yeah.
So we are planning and hoping for Grid Life
But-
Midwest to occur.
but
But if
sucks.
not, there's other dates that we can move to. They said so.
So I'll tell you what sucks. What sucks is that I have this other car I'm building. Finding welders, getting parts shipped out, getting paint, getting wrap, like all the stuff I need to help my car keep moving. A lot of it's at a standstill. You know what I mean? So in the
Yeah.
meantime, I'm still working on my older car, prepping it to go to these events if they still happen within a certain time frame. But like my new car build's like on hold, so I have no reason to go to my shop right now until I can get more products to start showing back up, so I can start working on it more. But in the meantime, I have 14 days to chill and go drive some sims. I know Hurt Life, Lexi has a sim, Paco has a sim. There's also
Brian
a great
has a sim.
organization called VDC Virtual Drift Championship, who runs a really good online drifting series. That I talked to those guys today. I almost just threw up thinking about VR. But those guys put on a good series. So I'm looking to play a little bit, you know what I mean, and use it really as a training tool. And
But see, like-
and
for you, for me it's like the opposite way, because now for me I just have more time to build my actual car, because my car is not at the shop anymore, it's just here.
right.
So now I'm the one putting all the work in it, so it goes the other way. I mean, I'm still going to work, but I kind of just come back from work here, and I mean, I made a lot of progress because I wanted to debut the car at Great Life too, but obviously it's not there yet. But I mean, it's getting there. It's looking like a
yeah,
car.
it looks like it's coming together.
Yeah, and
Did
Well,
you
that
get
with
like
the 2Js.
custom stenciling done on all that paint? Just like a bunch of Mexican cholo style like florets and just like hand pinstriping? Is that what that?
highness and
Highness
and highness and
the highness.
yeah.
Like the Aztec gods in the hood or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Exactly.
talking about, Brian.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So,
I
how's your
have
car, Samuel?
there's nothing to be said about it right now, but I do have something that you should watch my Instagram for. I haven't made an Instagram post since the new year began. I just kind of like didn't feel like doing social media stuff, but I will make a post tomorrow or Saturday, and I don't want to say anything about it. You guys will see that post.
Is it you gaping or something?
It's gonna be me gaping. So what I am is my new thing is that y'all has heard of a tub girl. If not, then go look it up. I'm actually a tub boy now, and I want you guys to see that. So that's what it is. Spoilers. Don't watch that.
Please,
Don't Google that. Don't Google that. I can't be a tub girl because I'm actually already part of the lemon party.
Ugh.
So.
Oh my God! Nice leaking.
Yeah.
One of my
God
favorite
damn
things when I was at Arizona, the prestigious Arizona State University in the year 08 or something like that, someone made a cool poster that they put on like the common area wall in the main courtyard of Arizona State, and the poster it says, "Are you tired of Obama's sour lies? Join the Lemon Party." And then they had a like lemonparty.org, and then I just really hope some cool people went there and be like, yeah, I fucking hate this sour lies, and they go there and they're like,
Welcome to Lemon Party. Yeah.
Welcome to Lemon Party. Yeah, that was I feel like they owe us a sponsorship for how many times we've mentioned that damn party on this show.
Thank you, Lemon Party, for your sponsorship.
Yeah.
Dude,
By the
Lemon
way,
Party would be a great cleaner right now. You know,
That's true.
Imagine if we made like an antiseptic, antibacterial lemon party lemon spray.
Yeah. I mean, everyone would buy it because in the past week when I've gone to the grocery store, there has not been any alcohol or cleaning spray or anything. Thankfully, we've still got a little bit around the house here, but yeah, I'm gonna sign it off here for us, boys, because I got to eat a sandwich, a sando for the boys, because I was able to buy some food today, and that's something to be excited about now in my area. In my area, at least, because I know some of you guys hopefully aren't thinking this in these exact terms, but some of you guys in places that are completely unaffected by this right now are like, what's that asshole talking about? And I hope it stays that way for you. But shit is rough in California and New York right now, these big dense cities or states and cities in them. So and it doesn't look like it's gonna slow down at all. So I hope you guys do heed at least a little bit of what I tried to preach at the beginning, and stay indoors, stay safe, listen to some pods, play some video games, jerk off, just whatever makes you happy. Just make sure to control that batch, keep that batch somewhere safe.
Isolated.
Don't hate your friends with it. Don't see your friends unless they're isolating with you. I'm not gonna see Paco right now.
Thank you.
I want to. Corey, I'm not going to see you. I'll see you online.
I'll see you.
Do you want to go get some? Do you want to go get some dubs?
I'll get some dubs right now if you want to.
Let's go get some dubs.
Fuck this social distancing. Fuck the quarantine.
Yeah. It'll be good. We'll be fine, or we won't. Who knows? But we'll be here. We're gonna still make a podcast somehow. I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about, but we'll figure it out. It could be like this. We could do some like a maximum hentai cast. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we're here. If you ever get lonely, talk to any of us. Talk to Maximum Driftcast, and we'll see you next show. And don't forget to. Huh?
I was gonna say like the I can't remember his name. Edward Murrow was saying on TV. Good night, and good luck.
Thank you. Was that Walter? No, that wasn't Walter.
Walter.
I should know that. I went to that journalism school. Anyways, see you guys.
Thanks,
next
Brian.
Tuesday. Or we won't.